Priorities at the moment were formed by the immediacy of the pandemic, but you also talked with us about longstanding issues that your state has faced when it comes to, for example, roads and bridges, when it comes to the need to have access to high-speed internet, when you knew that the economic fabric of your state relied on your small businesses and what they needed not only in terms of immediate relief during the pandemic, but what they need to not only survive and thrive as we move forward, in particular with the policies that our administration has emphasized when it comes to, for example, a clean energy economy and what we can do to grow our economy by thinking innovatively about what the future will require us to do today. So I want to thank you all for that. We delivered on many of these needs by making transformative investments that President Biden will highlight, and it includes our work to implement the largest investment in climate in our nation's history. We calculate that in addition to $370 billion that was part of the Inflation Reduction Act, overall we're probably looking at about $1 trillion that will hit the streets of America to address this pressing issue. And again, it will be your leadership that allows us to invest in families, in workers, collaborate with the private sector, and do the work that is not only about meeting the direct needs when it comes to the climate crisis and extreme weather conditions, but what we uniquely can do as the United States of America to be a model for the world around how we invest in our people and invest in our future. None of this work can happen were it not for you being there in the state houses.
Wow, friends. This is serious. The Federal Reserve has just released a big announcement in regards to inflation. This will affect most Americans, especially low-income households. President Biden has revealed the steps that he will take to address the United States economy. My friends, please do me a big favor and watch until the end of this video to hear about all of the new details. Also, to say thank you for being part of this community and for joining me here every day. I will be announcing 2 winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway this coming Friday. If you'd like to enter the weekly giveaways, my friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos, and then do comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. Friends, the more videos that you watch and then leave a comment on, the greater your chances of winning the weekly giveaways. President Biden is currently traveling the country, touting the resilience of the economy and its remarkably booming job market. However, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is sending a very different message. Powell says that if the economy keeps powering ahead, the central bank will likely slam harder on the brakes to stop inflation. The path ahead will come into clearer focus when the Labor Department reports a consumer price index for January, which is likely to show that inflation fell for the 7th consecutive month. It ran at an annualized rate below 3% during the second half of 2022, which was an encouraging trend. And with job growth surging and wage gains leveling off, there is more hope now than in almost a year that the economy can slow along with inflation without a very painful recession. This would be a soft landing, but prices still rose faster than they had in 4 decades last year. And Powell says he'll do what it takes to keep borrowing costs high and prevent price increases from becoming a more permanent feature of the economy. Tobin Marcus, who was an economic advisor to then Vice President Biden, has shared his thoughts on the situation. Marcus said, "We are in an economy right now that obviously has some bright spots and darker spots, with inflation still in the process of coming down. The president, for very clear reasons, is more interested in highlighting the bright spots, whereas Powell still needs to keep some focus on the need to finish a job." The Labor Department recently reported that unemployment had hit its lowest level since 1969 at 3.4%. It is an ideal point for Biden, who has touted his record on jobs in his annual State of the Union address and on the road since then. But Jerome Powell is eyeing low joblessness with worry that it might lead wages to skyrocket, pushing up labor costs for employers and therefore prices. This is what's known as a wage price spiral. As far as the Fed is concerned, inflation is what's important, but the job market is an important signal about where prices might be headed. Demand for goods and services is what creates jobs, and it's also what gives people money to spend. According to Politico, the Fed is willing to risk a recession if it means avoiding what happened in the 1970s, when the central bank backed off on interest rate hikes and inflation repeatedly came back. So many are wondering whether the Fed really needs to hurt the job market to bring down inflation. But if inflation doesn't continue its downward trajectory, Fed officials will want to raise rates higher, or even perhaps just keep them at higher levels for longer, until they see what they call a softening in the labor market. That would be fewer job openings, slower wage growth, and more than likely, somewhat higher unemployment. The Fed's goal is 2% inflation, but they are not done. A big reason price spikes have come down so much is because of gas prices, which are volatile and driven by global circumstances. Jerome Powell and his fellow policymakers want to make sure that inflation is cooling across the board. The prices of goods like furniture and cars have dropped, while rents may be slowing their ascent. But for the Fed, swelling prices are still a great concern in core service businesses, where labor costs are a major expense. Over the last 6 months, prices there have risen 4.7%. Experts have noted that wage growth is not accelerating, but Fed officials and other economists think that worker pay, which grew about 5% in 2022, is still rising too fast for inflation to sustainably come back to 2%. So by comparison, wages were growing about 3.5% annually before the crisis, when inflation was a bit below 2%. There is an argument that the Fed doesn't need to be too concerned because incomes are simply recovering after getting hammered by inflation, and workers will stop pushing for as big raises once price spikes get more under control. So dear friends, what are your thoughts about all of this? Do you agree with Jerome Powell? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Well, my most amazing and most beautiful friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for this Monday. Friends, I want you all to know that I sincerely appreciate every single one of you who are joining me here every day. I will be announcing 2 winners this Friday for the $75 Walmart gift card giveaway. If you'd like to enter the giveaways, friends, please make sure that you are subscribed to my channel, click and like several of my videos, and then do comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos, friends, that you watch and then leave a comment on, the greater your chances of winning the weekly giveaways. Thank you, friends, and have a wonderful and very blessed Monday.